But is Arizona's new law really all that tough, at least when it compares to the federal law? Ann Coulter is an author and an attorney and a syndicated columnist, and she's my guest here live. Hi, Ann.
Hello.
All right, so this is so interesting because I think people have just sort of accepted that maybe it poses the risk for racial profiling, and now the debate needs to be about whether that's appropriate, whether the risks are there and or the benefits outweigh them. Should we be accepting that this law sets up racial profiling?
No, I mean, I suppose you could say that about any law. If you make something illegal, someone could be arrested who didn't actually break that law. You could solve the danger that innocent people will be stopped and questioned by having no laws against anything. That's point one. But also, you know, the Supreme Court in this case, I've been citing for years, mostly because I'm a big proponent of racial profiling at the airport. The Supreme Court decided a case in 1975 unanimously saying that the border police can take into account the Mexican appearance of a car's occupants. They said they couldn't do random stops based on nothing but the Mexican appearance, but this case, Brignani-Ponce versus United States. Right. This is every liberal on the court. This is Justice Brennan. They're all saying you can take that into account, and this law prohibits that. So this does not go as far as the Supreme Court has said you can do under the Constitution.
The Arizona law specifically says that you cannot consider race. Originally, it said that race can't be the only factor that leads you to ask somebody, police, about immigration status. Then they amended it to say it can't even be a factor.
Right.
You can't even consider race at all. And that is more stringent on the police than the federal law.
Far more, and completely unnecessary, I might add. But, you know, they're being bullied by the entire country. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, the way the Democratic Party and the president, the administration, is coming out against a state law, for one thing, as you point out, without taking the trouble to read it. He says he's going through it with a fine-tooth comb. That'll take exactly 6 minutes. You know, it's a 10-page law. I think he can get through it in time. But, you know, sometimes states would pass laws that were directly contradicting federal law, as opposed to going in the same direction, which this law is. Thus, it is completely constitutional, by the way. But, for example, wasn't it Oregon that passed the assisted suicide law? You didn't have George Bush and the entire Republican Party standing up saying, we're going to punish them, you're killing old people. I mean, it was violating federal law, and they did take it to court.
But, Ann, what do you make of this? You know, O'Reilly asked me this last night, and I didn't answer. I mean, I don't have answers. I'm not a political analyst. But he asked me, what do you think? Why are they doing this? When the polls show, you know, 60%, 72%, overwhelmingly the American people favor this law and actually would like to see a similar law in their states. Right. This is according to the Fox News poll. It just came out yesterday. I mean, huge numbers would actually like to see similar laws. So what is the payoff to the Obama administration and to the Democrats in cheering Felipe Calderon when he says he doesn't like the law, in saying they're going to pursue it, in having the Department of Justice look to see whether it can be struck down and so on?
Right. It's a great point. I think this is the problem with never letting anyone in the room who isn't a member of the ACLU. I think they did not anticipate. They don't know what normal Americans think. I mean, why would an administration, any administration, ever propose trying the mastermind of 9/11 in the same court that tried Martha Stewart? Why? Well, because they don't know anyone who's not in the ACLU. And now America is reacting, and not reacting well.
But they're not backing off. I mean, the polls have been coming out day after day after day. And, you know, just recently, just this week, we see the president agreeing with Felipe Calderon. And you see, you know, we have that picture of Janet Napolitano and Eric Holder, you know, standing up and cheering when Felipe Calderon criticizes the law. Look at all the Democrats who are on their feet in the picture. Why? Now they know. Now they know what the polls show.
And by the way, I would recommend for this fabulous TV show you have that you fixate on that photo of the Democrats cheering the president of Mexico when he denounces the state of Arizona for this law. I want to see each Democrat standing up, because those should be used in campaigns this fall.
We're actually going to take a look at that, because yesterday we had a live chat during that event, and we had so many emails from our viewers saying, who is that? Because I want to know. People want to ask their own lawmaker, what is it that makes you support it or not support it? We're actually going to talk about this in about 12 minutes with a panel. But do you have any theories, Ann, on why they are? I mean, really, genuinely, is it about getting the Hispanic vote?
No.
Which has been so
absolutely
important?
Absolutely not. Cesar Chavez, for example, you know, the big farm worker, labor leader activist, he went with Frank Abernathy, the successor to Martin Luther King, to the border to protest illegal immigration. This is absolute nonsense that the people who are most in favor of illegal immigrants are legal Hispanic immigrants. No, they're the ones who are getting their jobs taken away.
They're the ones who waited in line.
Yeah, let's wait until the illegal immigrants are taking TV hosts' jobs and newspaper editors' jobs and presidents and senators' jobs, and then see what they think about illegal immigration. This is nonsense that legal Hispanics are all, you know, yes, I think Hispanics should come here illegally and take my job.
What do you make of this guy Morton, the head of ICE, now saying that it's not good government, that law, ICE will not necessarily process illegals sent to it by Arizona?
That is an amazing story. Thank you for presenting that to the world, Megan. Well, the good news is that at least ICE isn't processing any illegal immigrants sent to it. We just had a story in the New York Post, I think, about a week ago. There was that $100,000 payment made to, you know, crack smoking illegal immigrant here in New York because ICE didn't pick him up and deport him. They held him for 30 days rather than 2 days as required by law. There are 3,000 illegal immigrants at Rikers every year that ICE is supposed to pick up. They have 2 hours to process them, either move them to a deportation center or deport them. I know. How about deport them? Because they're, you know, criminals and illegal aliens. 2 separate crimes there. And ICE isn't doing anything. The Rikers guy in the New York Post story was quoted saying, yeah, we just let him go now because ICE doesn't pick him up.
Well, I want to say that I'm just being told in my ear that now ICE has called in and said they are trying to get somebody to respond to this, and it is now 2:20, so they've got 40 minutes left, and they are welcome to come on and give their side of the story. That's what we want. That's what we would like. Ann Coulter, thank you so much, as always.